This is how I run The Last of Us Part 1 with much better frame pacing using Lossless Scale Frame Generation on my RTX 3060 Ti. I'm using the best tweaks to properly optimize our generated frames while keeping latency completely stable, and all without facing any annoying crashes by using specific frame generation modes. Because I know a lot of you are still dealing with constant crashes using specific mods, so this tool is going to give you some real hope to finally experience frame generation on your budget GPU. So here is exactly how to set it up. Alright, first let's talk about the lossless scaling settings. First things is we need to run lossless scaling as an administrator. You don't have to do it manually every time. You can easily toggle it on right inside the lossless scaling settings so it always runs as admin. Now for the second step. We know lossless scaling runs in the background, right? So we can get a little push from the CPU to stabilize the tool a bit more properly. All we have to do is open Task Manager, find losslessscaling.exe, right-click it, and select Go to Details. Once you're in the Details tab, right-click losslessscaling.exe again, go to Set Priority, and select High. And that's it. Now you can close Task Manager. Alright, step number 3 is super important. We're going to limit our raw frames using RTX and fix screen tearing using the Scaling Sync option. For this, you'll need to install the full MSI Afterburner setup, which comes with RTX. Once you open up RTX, look for the frame rate limit box right here and type in your stable FPS. I lock mine at 60 FPS because that's the absolute maximum stable performance my PC can handle. Yours might be different, so make sure to optimize your game first, see what your max stable FPS is, and type that number here. Next, click on the Scaling Sync option. Now, the value you put here depends entirely on your monitor's refresh rate. Since I'm using a 144Hz monitor, this is the perfect value for me. But if you are using a standard 60Hz monitor, make sure to change this value to -30. If you're on a 140Hz monitor like me, use -20. What this does is push that annoying horizontal screen tearing line all the way to the bottom of the screen instead of cutting right through the middle of your game. Like I said, this only works perfectly if it matches your refresh rate exactly. Once that's entered, you can go ahead and minimize RTX. Alright guys, now let's adjust our DLSS scaling type. For this, you're gonna need the NVIDIA app. Just open up the NVIDIA app, click on Graphics, select The Last of Us Part 1, and under the driver settings, look for the DLSS Override Model Preset option. Now, to get the absolute best sweet spot for our performance, Preset K is the way to go, which is basically for the DLSS 4 features. So let's select Preset K and hit Apply. Right below that, you'll see DLSS Super Resolution. Clicking this lets you force any upscale mode you want directly from here, so you don't have to keep changing things back and forth inside the game settings. The NVIDIA app will handle it for you. For this, I'm selecting the custom mode. I do this because I want to push my performance up a bit while keeping a really good resolution scale so the image quality doesn't take a big hit. So I'm going to type in 56% right here. Look, if you don't want to use this specific method, you can easily just select your preferred upscale mode right inside the game. This is just a personal technique that I use, so I wanted to share it with you guys. Whether you want to try it or not is completely up to you. Next, go over to Global Settings, turn on Image Scaling, and set the sharpness somewhere between 10% and 12%. Since we lowered our resolution scale to 56%, this sharpness tweak is going to bring back those extra details and keep the game looking crisp. Once all these settings are applied, you can go ahead and close the NVIDIA app. Alright guys, now let's see what settings we need to use inside lossless scaling. I don't need to go over every single detail because I know you already know the basics, so I'm just going to show you the exact settings you need to change. So this time, I chose the adaptive mode. The reason I picked adaptive is because it lets us manually enter our target FPS. This is honestly great because we're using this tool just to increase smoothness. Going for crazy high frames isn't going to lower your latency anyway. If you just want a smooth experience, anything between 70 or 80 generated frames, perfectly fine. That's why I'm typing 80 as my target FPS here. It gives the GPU a chance to breathe, lowers the performance cost, keeps our base frame rate stable around the 60s, and keeps latency at a really good level. I know a lot of people in the comments said adaptive mode causes a ton of flickering, but honestly, I didn't notice any huge difference between adaptive and fixed mode. So for this game, I'm sticking with adaptive. Next up is performance mode. You can turn this on or off. Turning it on can slightly reduce the hit to your base performance, but it can also make your crosshair flicker a lot more. Because of that, I keep performance mode turned off. For flow scale, I'm not touching this setting at all, guys. I use a 1080p monitor, and I noticed that messing with flow scale actually increases graphical artifacts. So I'm keeping it at 100%. For the rest of the settings, keep Capture API on DXGI, Q target at 1, scaling type turned off, sync mode to off, allow tearing, and max frames at 1. Now, under the preferred GPU setting, if your CPU has an integrated GPU, make sure to select it here. It's a great trick to reduce your main GPU overhead and lower your latency. My PC doesn't support this because I'm running an F-series CPU without integrated graphics, but if you have one, definitely select your iGPU series here. Alright guys, now that everything is set up, let's launch the game. Alright guys, inside the game, there isn't much special we need to change because The Last of Us already runs in borderless windowed mode by default. Just make sure to enable DLSS upscaling in the game settings. Once you do that, the custom resolution we set up in the NVIDIA app will kick in, just like you see here on my screen. You can clearly see it's applying preset K and that custom 56% resolution scale because DLSS is turned on. You can optimize the rest of the graphics settings based on what your PC can support. For this video, I'm setting the graphics to high, but keep in mind that since I'm recording the gameplay in real time, it does eat up a bit of my FPS. Oh, and one super important tip, if your shader cache process isn't completely finished yet, please let it complete first. Shader compilation takes up your entire CPU, and if you try to play with lossless scaling while it's caching, your frame generation is going to feel incredibly choppy and unstable. So, let the shaders finish up before you start playing. Now, you can easily activate lossless scaling right from the game menu without any issues. All you have to do is hold down Ctrl and Alt and then press S. That shortcut will instantly kick the frame generation into gear. Alright guys, now let me show you some gameplay and test footage I recorded so you can get a clear idea of how stable the final results look.
You weren't kidding about this place, were you?
So guys, as you can see in the results, my base frame rate still drops a bit in some of the more demanding areas. That's mostly just shaders loading in the background, which is pretty obvious if you look at my frame time graph right here. But the best part is, because we made our base frame rate so strong with these tweaks, visual artifacts are barely noticeable during gameplay. So if you follow these exact steps properly, you can also get a really smooth experience in your game. Thank you so much for watching today's video, guys. If this helped you out, let me know in the comments. Have a great day, and I'll catch you all in the next frame generation video.